Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's been a while since I've reconnected out there with the YouTube universe, but it's tax season, so it's been chaos. And I'm just trying to get, stay ahead of the game, get caught up with my existing work. I still have so many ERTCs that I'm working on, but I did want to follow up and let you know I made significant improvements to the spreadsheet. To those of you that already purchased the old one, I'm going to be sending you this new one, obviously free of charge because you already paid for it. And then to the new people, new viewers and subscribers, you'll be happy with this one. And so I want to share my screen. Actually, I'm already sharing it. So I kind of lost track of where I'm at here, but it's going to be more or less like a brief recap on ERTC for 2021. There's been some changes, but generally everything stays the same. It's obviously 20% drop in your revenue for comparing 2019 first quarter with first quarter 2021. If you were not in business in 2019, you compare 2020 first quarter or the immediately preceding quarter, which would be fourth quarter 2020. So that's the deal with the 2021. Nothing's really changed with 2020. You have to have experienced a 50% drop in any one quarter, and then from thereafter, a 20% drop compared to 2019, or it's an either or you had to have been closed by government order or have been significantly impacted by government order. However, in recent notices and bulletins, they have clarified a little bit about that. And now they're saying that even if you were under government order, you don't necessarily qualify if your reduction in revenue was nominal. And so what does that mean? Basically, they came up with a very basic example is if it's less than 10% difference in your revenue when you compare it to the prior year, they're going to consider that nominal, and you would not fall under the government shutdown order as a blanket cause to be able to, take the credit or a blanket eligibility. Let's put it that way. So there is that. Then the other thing that we're going to talk about is a little bit of PPP for 2020. And I'm going to cover this in the future as I start sort of dusting myself off and get caught up. I'm going to get into much more of the PPP forgiveness calculations and also do some 941 calculations. I know everyone's been looking for an updated 941 example, 941X, and things like that. So I'm going to get into that as well. But basically, we are stuck now with if you already applied for PPP forgiveness before the ERTC and you used all of your wages, you're stuck with that number now for the allocation and the coordination with ERTC PPP. If you went over and above the loan amount and you put that, like let's say you had 200,000 in proceeds, but you put down 300,000 in payroll, you reduce it back down obviously to the 200, so you're not going to be penalized in that sense. But the penalization comes into play where now we don't have the ability to use a 60% base payroll or somewhere in between 60 and 100% for base payroll to be able to loosen up those wages for ERTC. So, there is that coordination issue, and hopefully you've been watching me and others. You didn't file the PPP forgiveness just yet. And for those PPP one, most will be due until August because most people got that money in April and May. So that's that. And then there was something else I can't remember, but maybe as I go through this example, I'll remember it. So I'm going to do something more or less current. That's what I was going to say. Everyone's been asking what's going on with the amended returns for 2020. I've filed many of them and no one's gotten their money back. However, I've been filing the Q1s and even late Q4, not amended, but regular 941s, and those have been getting processed rather quickly within about 2 to 3 weeks. But for those of us that are still trying to get 941Xs filed and completed and processed by the IRS, long wait time. We have no idea how long it's going to go, how long it's going to take. 7200s, same issue. People have been sending them in. They're not getting their payments. So the strategy for me is I'm not going to be recommending sending in 7200s. We'll just file a timely 941. If you have a payroll service, coordinate with them to figure out if they have an opportunity to put those numbers on their 941, or tell them to hold and file the 941 on your own. So that's important as well. So a lot of things going on. I can't address them all in this video because this is going to be more or less a tutorial on the nuts and bolts of the ERTC and the calculator that I've provided, and I am selling it on my website. Although this one I do have to increase the price a little bit because this is a year's worth of effort going into this. So you will be able to purchase this on opsaccounting.com. It's listed for $299, but the $299 is really a drop in the bucket. For those of you who are already calculating this, we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars. So hopefully this will, get you to where you need to go. And if you're an accountant out there, this is going to save you a lot of time. Let's first start with, let's start with, what am I going to do here? Let's start with an example, if I can get there. All right. So let's say you have a payroll company, and you're able to download a CSV file. So for those people who hate CSV files, you can see here, this is about 20 or 30 employees. And if you look towards the left of the screen, we have hundreds of transactions. So this is an employee detail, every single paycheck with the breakdown of everything. And every payroll service is going to basically download this a little bit differently. This particular one is pretty nice because it's got the gross number on a line, and it's broken down line by line for each pay period for each employee. So what do I do? What's the starting point? Well, the reality is, and this is where it does require some spreadsheet skill. Not a whole heck of a lot of skill, but it does require some knowledge, I would say, intermediate to advanced knowledge, I would say. So even though you'll have this calculator that I provide, you're still going to have to do a lot of the back end work to get the data in. And I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to hold down Shift and Control and press down the left arrow, and it's going to automatically, grab the entire row, top row. And I started at the A1. And then while I'm holding down the Shift Control, I'm going to press the down arrow, and that's going to grab everything. So we have 1,000 lines here, 1,114 lines. Now, here's the magic. This is really not top secret, folks. So whoever's done pivot tables, you'll know, you're probably rolling your eyes laughing. But for those of you who are so afraid of pivot tables, let me show you how easy this is. After you selected your area, you go up top to the menu, you go to Insert, and on the left in Excel, it's Pivot Table, and just click it. And it'll open up a little dialog box. And it'll say, and it's already going to automatically select the range. And it said, do you want to open up in a new worksheet? Yes, we want it to open up a new tab. It's already selected. So we're going to click OK. And now you have this blank screen. Well, these are all, so based on the column headers, all the data below those column headers is going to be, when I select these various fields, it's going to start populating this. It's going to summarize everything. Everything's going to be summarized. So if I just start going, I don't want to use the names because it's an actual file. So let me use employee ID. Okay, I'm going to check that. You see how it created the rows there, and it automatically drops it down to a row. You can move this to column. You can move this to row. Okay, you see how I just click and drag and drop? I just click it and drag it and drop it. And then the other thing I know in this one is employee taxable amount. And it just kind of knows, and it's going to put it in this value area right here. Sometimes it'll show up as a count, like a number count of how many transactions were in that. So the way to fix that, if that does happen to you, you go to, when you click on it, there's like this little drop down arrow here, values, field settings, and this one will be count, this one will be sum. You want it to have it to be a sum. Okay. So, and then there's one more thing, actually, I forgot to mention. So that's just the basics of just grabbing it. But I forgot to mention, in our Q1, a lot of people got PPP2, and they got PPP2 around February. In this case, this client got PPP2 February 17th. So this column wasn't here before, so I had to insert a column. I just had to insert a column. I labeled it ERTC period. And then I just put a description for pre-PPP and then regular PPP, post-PPP. And all I did, because I did it based on period, end date, there should be a pay date. So we're going to do it on pay date. And then any pay date before February 17th is going to be pre-PPP. So all I did was copy down all the way. And then any period, pay period after that was regular PPP, right? To use in the PPP period. So if I go back to the pivot table, let me see if I could find the ERTC, which watch now I can't find it. Yes, so right now I cannot find it. So hold on one second. The wonderful thing about live demos here, because I hate to do these over and over again. Where is ERTC? All right, so we're going to troubleshoot this. How do I troubleshoot it? Okay. Oh, God. Fat fingers here. Copy. Paste. So I'm going to go here, my pivot table again. Let's see if I was able to go to data and refresh all. Okay, well, I don't know. They just both popped up now. So that was interesting. So whenever you lose, if you click off of it, you'll lose the pivot table dialog box, and you click back on the pivot table field, it'll come back. When you want to refresh data, if you change anything in your data area here, you'll always want to hit refresh. So I'll do refresh all. So that popped up. So the other thing I want to do is I want to look at the periods. You see how, so it automatically just put them as rows, but I want to put them as columns. So I'm just going to take the ERTC period and move it to a column. That's pretty nice, right? That's pretty cool. I kind of, the other way was a little better with the, had it on, flipped on the other side, but you can't really flip it here. You have to like copy and paste special and, you know, get the table out of the way. But this is going to be our data. So pre-PPP, okay? And I'm just going to move. So here's what I'm going to do. PPP, pre-PPP. Oops. So I'm just going to copy and paste it into the calculator now. So how do I do that? Let's go back here. Well, first let me copy the employees. These are the employee numbers. And so I'm going to go into here. I'm just going to paste special, actually. I have to do a paste special because I don't want to override the yellow highlight. So I'm going to paste the values. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the pre-PPP amounts. Copy. Paste. Paste special. Okay, voila. You see how fast that was? The calculator just does everything. I don't know if you could see it. I know. Let me see if I can make it bigger for everybody here. And then, so that's for the period before we received PPP. Now, let's go to the period after we receive PPP. Oh gosh darn it. Okay. So we got that. Good to go there. And in this case, I think I forgot. What was the example? 332,357. 332,357 is the loan amount. We received it 2/17/21. This is automatically calculated. So whatever's not highlighted should work automatically. It's 168 days, which is 24 weeks. Here's another important consideration. Remember how I said, well, now we have an opportunity. We don't know what the forgiveness options are going to be for PPP2. We assume that it's going to be the same as PPP1. Baseline 60%. This is pursuant to the most recent guidance. I think it was notice 2021-20, where they gave all these examples and they did use a 60% guidance there. So I'm going to say 60%, as long as we hit $199,414 worth of wages, we're in good shape. So we have remaining wages. So I'm going to go here. This is another dialog box. So I have all these little dialog boxes, and they relate to tying out the high-low wages. All right, I'll explain that in a second. So these are the general inputs. Do not touch any of these. You could touch this one, maybe. I could probably highlight that one. But that's set at 60%. Actually, maybe I'll get rid of that. Let's leave it alone. But you could always go in here and change it. All right. So what we said was for the first quarter. Oops. Okay. Period wages. Period wages are going to be here. 242, 819.68. Now, instead of like having to go through, so that's the other thing I wanted to mention. In the updated guidance, I mean, this actually goes back. I mean, it's like rewind time, because I was doing this before any guidance, and I was getting so much pushback, and people thought I was being too aggressive. And it turns out I was actually right. Like there is a skip over. You just cancel out exact wages. You cannot use ERTC on exact wages. So in some of the previous videos I did, based on some other, information I was getting from various sources, we were doing straight line and average and things like that. But the reality is, based on some updated guidance and the consensus out there is you don't want to use ERTC on the exact same wages. So we did that averaging and straight line. We're still using some of that ERTC on those exact same wages. And that was posing a problem. So I'm more comfortable with the high-low method at this point. So I'm going to start applying 199,000. We already know in our period wages, we have 242,000. So we're going to knock out the PPP literally in this first quarter. So we're going to have more open quarters to take the new 10,000 per employee, or 70% of 10,000 per employee per quarter. So it's a little more forgiving than it was in 2020. So why don't we just get rid of it? So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to knock it all out. And how do I do the sorting instead of having to manually? Based on this spreadsheet, you could sort. I'm going to sort from largest to smallest. Okay. And I'll just go here. I'll just equal that, right? Oops, maybe I didn't want to do that. It's a table, so it does all these calculations automatically. So I'm going to keep going. Oops. And if you're a spreadsheet guru, I'm sure there's so many different ways to do this, but notice something I'll show you. You see how the PPP remaining keeps going down? This PPP remaining keeps going down, so it's going to give you a running total of when you reach so this is taking a little time. There's a way to do this a little bit faster, but that's fine. See that running PPP remaining? And now I'm at 6,446.99, but there's only 6,051 remaining. So that's all I'm going to do. And look what's left. Pretty cool, huh? So this is what's really nice. Now, what's the other thing I need to do here? Oh, I saw a little bit of an error. That's why it's nice to do this. So this one needs to be this for plus this. This needs to be this. So check the calculations. Nothing is perfect, but there's enough here to be able to proof out. You shouldn't have that issue because I'm going to save this one. So that should be updated without a problem. So now we have 161,000 of ERTC wages and 113,000 in credits. That's pretty cool. And actually on this one, there is a little bit of a problem because these are the exact same wages. So we're taking ERTC on the exact same wages. So what to do here? Do we just cancel them out? That's a great question. In this case, I'll just leave it alone because it's de minimis. It's not a significant amount, and we've already canceled out the majority of it. So this is more of a rounding issue. So I'll just leave it alone. Now, remember also, there are no remaining wages here because it's 10,000 every single quarter. So there's no roll forward in theory, right? Because it's kind of like a use it or lose it situation. I guess that's actually one of the open questions I have, because what if, well, yeah, no, yeah, it's use it or lose it. It's up to the first 10,000. So everything should be absorbed in that quarter. So there's no remaining wages like in 2020, where you have a very much more involved calculation in 2020. And 2020, the example I left, these are 2 example tabs. So you could really play around with this. And where is this one? I got rid of the example on that one. Oh, because I used the wrong, I'll fix that before I email it to you. So, but this is it in a nutshell. It's very straightforward. And then you'll just continue. In this case, you have no more PPP to use. So all 10,000, first 10,000 of wages in Q2 are good to go. Just that simple, assuming you meet the gross receipts test, of course. But then, you're good to go there. So again, feel free, go to my website, opsaccounting.com, purchase it. It's a little bit of a clumsy setup. If I don't do it within an hour or the same day, just poke me. I'll email it to you right away typically, but I might get a little busy and I'll just have to send it a little later. But definitely reach out anytime. This is a very, very valuable tool. The hardest part about doing all this is, in my opinion, is literally the the assembly of assembling the data. That's really the hardest part, is manipulating spreadsheets, sorting it, doing pivot tables. If you want me to do more pivot table videos, let me know. I plan on doing them anyway, but for some of you, if you want a little bit more deep dive in pivot tables, let me know. In the meantime, I'll leave you with this. I'm going to be doing more 3508 videos along with the 941Xs, 941s. another recap of the ERTC. I'm going to recap current legislation, and I'll also be doing more individual videos down the road as well, as far as the updated laws with child tax credits and whatnot. So thank you very much. I'm sorry it's been a while. Appreciate everyone's patience. Appreciate so much all the subscribers. I can't believe how nicely it's grown. And it's because of all of you and your support. So, and I really appreciate the comments as well. On the comments, I won't always be able to get back to you. It is tax season. I do my best, and sometimes the YouTube filter there is a little goofy, and I can't even respond to some of your comments either. So I do apologize for that. Okay, with that, reach out with any questions. Good luck with everything, and don't forget to purchase this. It's a really helpful tool. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.